Kingsfield 4 is a video game by From Software. Remember back when you would sit in class, thinking about a game all day, running home after the bell rings and sitting down and booting up Kingsfield 4? I don't either. As far as I know, most people hadn't really touched the Kingsfield series until after From Software hit it big. Like a lot, first stumbling into From's unique lineup via Dark or Demon Souls, I became curious what led them to have such a unique identity. So I played almost every Kingsfield game, and a little bit of Shadow Tower. Accidentally skipped over the actual first game, due to localization renumbering games because, well, this isn't Final Fantasy VI in the US. It is the US's third Final Fantasy, though. Either way, I went through the latter three and started Shadow Tower briefly, as well as touching just a hint of Shadow Tower Abyss. I came to a realization that there just isn't anything quite like this game series. They are a very slow first-person dungeon crawl, which isn't unique at this time, but investigating a unique world that From Software had designed is its own experience. There's so much there that's familiar to their future endeavors that they're now known for. They are difficult, frustrating, and confusing, but they are learnable, abusable, and once it clicks, it's so rewarding. Sound familiar? It's easy to see how From Software started pushing towards faster and faster action. They were learning a lot, and their newer work was easier to get into. But what if instead of veering towards third-person action, they had retained their surreal first-person dungeon crawling roots? That's what Lunacid asks and answers. Lunacid takes inspiration from these old games. Kira, the creator, literally puts that right in the description, and puts their own spin on that specific formula. Lunacid starts with you being cast into a deep well, as you are some nasty being sought to be forgotten in a world where everything has gone quite bad. Terrible poison fog covers the world now. You're given an option of what outcast or class you want to be, letting you carve your own style of play into the game, and set off into the underground cave to figure out how the hell to deal with your new ostracized position. The world is in shambles anyway. That there great beast sure did a number on the world. It's probably better you've been cast down here. Maybe others in a similar position are better off helping you get around or understanding what the hell's going on and why there's actual passageways and statues. There aren't too many characters, most of them found in Wing's Rest. Demi, whom you first meet that warps you to Wing's Rest, she just wants what's best for you and everyone here. Cheryl the Crow, one cool cucumber and your shopkeep. Etna, who is a charming little alchemist where you can perform some really confusing alchemy. And Clive, an eternally drinking skeleton that has an awful lot of stories to share about the world as it was. You probably won't talk to them too much, just an occasional check-in, They might have something interesting or useful to share. They're nice faces to see after clambering around for a while. The remaining people are strewn throughout your journeys, hidden in secret passageways, and usually have some kind of side quest for you. They're equally as entertaining, and maybe you'll find yourself a cute slime girlfriend. You want to lay a beat down on some snails? Maybe some slimes or skeletons? Lunacid's got you. There's more than your standard fare of creatures and rodents to beat down on, but they're still very fittingly designed within the aesthetic of the game. The selection is very diverse, and of course there are capabilities of getting you as well. Albeit playing on the normal difficulty for this game, it can be easy dealing with them if you find both their weaknesses and the right tools for the job. It also has a dismemberment system, pulling from Shadow Tower Abyss, allowing you to prevent certain attacks from happening. You just gotta keep targeting the specific body part, and a fun little gushy, slashy noise and visual happens. And yippee, they're missing their head! Oh, fun. By the way, there are a lot of options to find to just lay waste to everything that wants your blood. Out in the open, drop from enemies, or of course hidden behind secret walls. Weapons and spell rings are to be found and cherished, ranging from standard swords to this fucking candle, each with their own element, if they've got any. And if a particular weapon is a loser, it's likely got an XP gauge, and building that up nets you a higher quality weapon. Swing or shoot them, holding down the attack button doing more discernible damage and also giving you a lunge for most weapons. I honestly prefer the charging system over Kingsfield's wait to do more stamina system, where sprinting is also tied to your physical and magic meters. Spells have more variety in terms of their uses in Lunacid. You have support spells like healing, casting light, and a wind dash, my beloved, a coffin, or you've got your damage spells, spells that shoot like spears or leave a damage field on the ground. I do wish that these also had a leveling system, similar to how Kingsfield handled it, where using a spell more and more got it more powerful and gave you other traits to it. Really rewarding, but it's understandable to avoid since that's a lot more work and balancing, and you've already got your intellect stat determining charge speed of spells and damage output. Aside from obviously affecting your damage, your stats also directly affect your movement speed, jump height, and resistances. Being able to outright avoid attacks by moving really quick or leaving the earth for a second is an ideal way to deal with combat. It's a nice system, though at least on normal I didn't find much use to increase my block or resistances all that much. I could just kinda eat damage just fine without worrying about actually blocking, which not a big fan of the block. It feels a little clumsy to actually utilize. Overall, feels like the combat's almost there. Just some minor tweaking and it'd really shine. Not to say that it's a bad combat system, no, I just wish there was a bit more to it. It's a little straightforward. But that wasn't really Kingsfield's strong suit either. Combat was neat, but clumsy and slow too. What really makes people secretly go nuts for these games? Let me describe a certain moment. You're wandering around the sewers and come across something a little off in the water. So you jump in and swim through this hole in the sewage. It's a long path, but you make your way to the other side, and you find a few skeletons in the secluded zone. Once you dispatch them, you find a broken hilt. Oh, terrible. But what if I level this hidden item up? And you spend your time whacking away with this little short-range hilt for garbage damage for a while. You hit its XP cap, and return back home, and use the oil fountain, and... oh, hell yeah! It's stuff like this, these little hidden things that tempt you and to try and experiment, to try to find and uncover some special things, some special items or spells, or just something fun to see, and you're often rewarded with something really bizarre or unique for your attempts. Lunacid, like Kingsfield, wants you to try these things all the time. It could be your new favorite toy or your new favorite secret, and I would try to recommend avoiding using any guides until you absolutely need to. It's really rewarding to find that stuff on your own. Mix these feelings in and having some really unique looking areas with some excellent music from Kira and other collaborators. It sets a haunting tone that is, again, reminiscent of both Kingsfield and Shadow Tower, while also maintaining its own identity. It's an absolutely gorgeous game that nails the PS1/2 era aesthetics to a T. Game just keeps pounding the exploration is rewarding feelings into you. A feast for your eyes, a feast for your ears, a feast for your hands, and a feast for nostalgia. Lunacid has its flaws for sure. It's a bit buggy and combat is definitely an improvement over Kingsfield, but it still needs some refinement. Though, since I recorded the main footage for Lunacid, there has been some updates to refine some of these issues. I don't know by how much, but I'm sure with time it'll feel a lot better. But despite those flaws, it still has such a unique charm to it. Each session I found myself in a haze of serotonin and the sun almost rising. It was so addicting to find new stuff in Lunacid, it was hard for me to resist it. It hit a very specific itch. I wanted more of it. If there's big expansions or DLC, I'd be down. Or hell, a sequel even. You'd even pushed me to give Kingsfield 4 a third try, and finally getting that out of my unfinished games list. But more for Lunacid doesn't need to be the case. So far, Kira's lineup of games is so diverse, tackling different old games with their own fun spin on it. I hope they keep creating stuff. I highly recommend Lunacid to anyone who's been curious about the Shadow Tower or Kingsfield series by From Software, but couldn't bypass the archaic control and occasionally extremely punishing difficulty. And I highly recommend it to those who are fans of Kingsfield and want another hit of those vibes with a refreshing and faster feel. It has treated me so well that in a year full of incredible releases in the 2023, just back to back to back to back, this was the one that I had just been consistently the most excited for. I smile and kiss this game. Check it out. So I've never really done a review before. I tried writing things down, and I don't know how much I really covered here, but it was worth a try. Let me know how it is, and I'm sure in seeing that footage you might have seen that I became a big fan of this, the aesthetics of it. I accidentally started using a very similar music representation system like in Lunacid. I mean, just check out my last video. You could see where I accidentally got inspired. Anyway, thank you for watching, and maybe I'll do more of these if people like it, or if I want to. We'll see. See ya. Kingsfield 4 is a video game by From Software. Kingsfield 4 is a video game by From Software. Kingsfield 4 is a video game by From Software.